Hey folks, this is David Smith at Correctional Officer Lifestyle, coming to you with another video today about corrections and the profession that I have given so much of my life to. Okay, there is a movement in the Florida Department of Corrections to put all institutions back on an 8-hour shift model. They're going to an 8.5-hour shift model. The 8.5-hour shift is going to be the important part because it will be 30 minutes worth of the ability for staff to receive a shift briefing. They'll be paid for said shift briefing. A lot of people that I'm hearing are talking about, we don't want to go to the 8.5-hour shift model because we'll lose money over the 12-hour shift model. It's not entirely true. You're going to actually make more because of the shift briefing, that 30-minute shift briefing. But as I've mentioned in several videos, knowledge is power in corrections, and if you can have 30 minutes worth of a shift briefing before you go to work, then you are armed with power. You're armed with knowledge. You have intelligence from the previous shift going down the hill. Now, the reason that I'm making this video is to tell you the difference between the three shifts for the people that don't know. Right now you have A, B, C, D, and admin. A, B, C, D, and admin. A shift and B shift are your 2 day shifts. They never see each other unless somebody works overtime. C shift and D shift are your 2 night shifts. They never see each other unless somebody works overtime. So there is no continuity. There is no everybody being on the same page. A shift does things one way, B shift does things another way, C shift does things their way, D shift goes off the reservation, does things their way. However you want to look at it, it's different. And we're not all on the same page, no matter how hard the administration and supervisors try. The sergeants and officers never see each other on the sister shifts, on the opposing shifts, so it's hard to get everybody on the same page with 12-hour shift model. Okay. Another detriment of the 12-hour shift model is you can only hold somebody over for 4 hours. So after that 4 hours, you're running post vacant. If you need to hold people over to staff your position as level 1, you're holding people for that 4 hours. After that, you're running your post vacant. It's dangerous. I don't like it, and it's dangerous. Okay. But let me go on ahead and tell you day shift versus evening shift versus night shift. Okay, your day shift are going to make sure that you're getting inmates to the programs and the appointments that they need to get to. In Florida, we have a call-out system. The inmates' names are placed on a call-out sheet. That way the inmate knows what appointment he has to go to. Okay, if he is called as he's not on the call-out sheet, but classification needs to see him. He's not on the call-out sheet, but medical needs to see him. Then they get an inmate pass and they go to their appointment. It's the security staff's responsibility to make sure that the inmates get to their appointments and their scheduled activities. Okay, you're also going to make sure that your inmates, your inmate housemen, your cleaning inmates, if you will, the inmates that are assigned to clean the dormitory. That is their job. That is what they earn their game time for. That they are able to do their job and that they are doing their job. You do this by making sure that they're cleaning, that the other inmates aren't in their way, that the other inmates aren't trying to dirty up the dorm while the inmates are cleaning it. And you're just making sure that the inmates aren't living like animals, that they have a clean environment, a sanitary environment to live in. You're making sure that you give them the proper cleaning supplies that they need, the chemicals that they need, your pine germ, your bleach, your orange scented cleaning stuff, your brooms, mops, mop buckets, mop wringers, whatever they need to clean, you make sure that they get that. Okay. And you make sure that the inmates get to the canteen or the commissary, whatever you refer to it as, and the recreation yard as they are supposed to. So Those are some very important things that day shift has to do. Day shift is largely responsible for inmate movement, getting inmates to their appointments, getting inmates to where they're supposed to be, getting inmates every single place that an inmate is supposed to be on a schedule. If the inmate is in the law system trying to fight his sentence and he's got a legal deadline that he has to get to, it's our job to make sure that that inmate gets to the facility that he needs to get to so that he can take care of his law work. Things like that. That's what day shift is largely responsible for. Okay. Transition to evening shift. When I was on evening shift, we started at 3 p.m. We got off at 11 p.m. State of Florida is evening shift is 4 to midnight. I am in the part of the state of Florida that's in the central time zone versus the eastern time zone. So to keep everybody on the same page and make sure that everybody's doing the same thing, they adjusted the central time zone to 3 to 11 versus 4 to midnight. Evening shift is responsible for the population during their leisure time. This is when inmates tend to act a little different. This is when inmates tend to act up. They don't have anything to do. They don't have any appointments to go to. They don't have any cleaning assignments that they have to perform. This is their leisure time. This is when they're going to be playing chess, playing checkers, playing cards, watching TV, getting on their tablets, doing video visits with their family on the kiosks. This is the inmates' leisure time. This is when the inmates have the most potential to get in the most trouble. Okay? Idle's hands are the devil's playthings, and during their leisure time, a lot of inmates don't have anything to do, and they tend to get in trouble. Evening shift is responsible for keeping order in the housing units during leisure time. I can't say that loud enough, proud enough, or bold enough. It is your job to keep order in the housing units. The inmates are not going to do it for you. You got to go down there and keep order in your unit. Evening shift is the shift that is able to get the most searches done because the inmates are all in their housing area and they're awake. So get down there and do your searches. Get down there and do your searches. Find your contraband. Find your intelligence. You get down there and get your searches. Now, whenever I worked on 3 to 11 shift, that was also the most heavily staffed shift. That was the shift that had the most people because it was the shift where the inmates had the least to do. So, where maybe you had one sergeant and an officer in every dorm. On evening shift, your bigger dorms, your higher security dorms, your secure cell housing units, they generally had 2 to 3 officers plus a sergeant so that they could accomplish the mission that they had to accomplish. Number 4, evening shift is when inmates generally misbehave the most. I've already said that. The idle hands that the inmates have when they have nothing to do, that's when they're going to get in the most trouble. That's when they're going to misbehave the most. 3 to 11 shift is if you have an officer that does his best work with the inmate population, you want him on 3 to 11 shift. You want that officer on 3 to 11 shift because that's when the inmates are going to be the most active. Okay, night shift, graveyard shift. In Florida, it's first shift because they say that you start the day at midnight, but in most jobs, it's the third shift. It is the shift where you're watching the inmates sleep. Okay, it is also the shift where most inmates are going to attempt to effect an escape. So, as far as security of the institution is probably the most important shift there is. Okay. The first thing I've got on my list here is night shift is the shift where staff have the most opportunity to learn. The inmates are asleep. If the inmates are not asleep, then you need to go out there and address that because the inmates should be asleep during the night shift. You have the opportunity to read policy. You have the opportunity to read procedure. You have the opportunity to learn. Knowledge is power. Learn whatever you can on night shift. Night shift is the shift when the inmate population is supposed to be sleeping. So it's the least active shift. Night shift is the shift when staff can read policy and procedure and is therefore perfect for new staff. You can't put all of your brand new staff, especially as fast as we go through them, on night shift. Because if you put all your brand new staff on night shift, then you've got nothing but rookies on night shift, and that's conducive for a bad day. This is a big one. I wrote this down because I wanted to express this accurately. Night shift can effectively set the tone for the day by making sure that once the inmates get up in the morning, they get ready for the day by getting a good breakfast, making their bed, and getting their area in order, and take care of all their daily routines, shaving, brushing their teeth, washing their face, combing their hair, things like this, before day shift even comes in, so that there are no delays in getting the day started on day shift. Night shift absolutely sets the tone for day shift. In Florida, we feed the inmates pretty early in the morning. We generally start feeding around 4 to 4:30. Giving inmates ample opportunity to eat, you're looking at 6:30 getting done. That gives you a half hour, 30 minutes between 6 and 7. Or, if you're in the Eastern time zone, you start feeding at 5. So you've got between 6:30 or 7:30 and 8 to get the inmates moving. Get the inmates moving, get them up, get their beds made. Make sure that they're ready to face the day. Make sure that they're able to go to all of their appointments. Make sure that they are up and ready to go to all of their appointments. Make sure that every single thing is done, ready to go by the time day shift walks in the door. Folks, I'm looking forward to when my institution goes to 8.5-hour shifts, because it is going to provide more continuity of supervision. It is going to eliminate vacancies. It is going to help so much. People are not going to like it. I get that. People are not going to like going to 8.5-hour shifts. But it's necessary. It is a far better corrections model to be working 8.5 or 8-hour shifts versus doing the 12-hour shifts thing where you have 4 different ways of doing things. That's not conducive of a good environment. So I'm actually looking forward to going to 8.5-hour shifts. I hope everybody else is too, although I know they're not. I'm going to continue to push it because I think it's the best thing coming. I really do. Folks, that's all I've got for this video. If you found value in this video, if you think that this video helped increase your knowledge, please hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you want to see more, and hit that bell for notifications when I post new videos, and engage with me. If all you have is negative things to say, do so in a professional manner. Okay, I broached the subject about the 8.5-hour shifts. If you have an opinion about the 8.5-hour shifts, keep it professional. Keep it professional. I welcome the negative opinions. I really do. I want to hear them. I want to be able to address them. I just want you to keep it professional. Okay? Any comments that you have, please hit me in the comments. I want to hear them. Okay? There is no such place for domestic violence in this world. There is no place for it at all. We need to get rid of it. We need to do away with it. Domestic violence is just, it's horrible. There's no place for it. The people that you have in your domestic circle are the ones that trust you to do the right thing at all times. So let's stop hurting them. If you are a victim of domestic violence or you know a victim of domestic violence, 1-800-799-SAFE. That's the domestic violence hotline. Make sure you call them. The people at the other end of that phone call have the tools, abilities, and resources to help victims of domestic violence. Of course, if you know the abuser, say something to somebody. The absolute worst thing you can do is nothing. And if you are the abuser, there's help for you too. All you have to do is understand that you need it and ask for it. Love shouldn't hurt. I am my brother's keeper. I am my sister's keeper. Y'all stay safe behind the fence. I'll see you in the next video.